What's up, fight fans? Today we're talking about a guy who became a legend in the UFC, but now finds himself on a very different path. Tony "El Cucuy" Ferguson, a man who dominated the lightweight division for years, only to suffer an unexpected fall. From a 12-fight win streak that had the entire world demanding his title shot, to brutal fights and painful defeats, Tony Ferguson's journey is one of the most fascinating in MMA history. And if you're tired of filler and want a quick, direct story, you're in the right place. Tony Ferguson's rise was nothing short of spectacular. After debuting in the UFC in 2011, he quickly showed off his unorthodox style, creative combinations, and relentless pressure. It didn't take long for him to become one of the most exciting fighters in the lightweight division. Ferguson's 12-fight win streak was historic. He beat top-tier opponents like Josh Thompson, Edson Barboza, and Rafael dos Anjos, all in dominant fashion. His fight with Barboza at UFC 199 is still remembered as one of the greatest lightweight bouts of all time. Ferguson proved he wasn't just skilled. He was a nightmare in the octagon. Unpredictable, wild, and almost impossible to beat. But it wasn't just the wins that earned him fans. It was his style. Ferguson could take shots and keep moving forward, had awkward but effective movement, and always wore that eerie smile that made him one of the most feared fighters in the division. His nickname, El Cucuy, became a symbol of his terrifying ability to destroy anyone in his path. And then came the moment everyone was waiting for, the title shot. Tony Ferguson had deserved a shot at the lightweight belt for years. The fans wanted it, the UFC wanted it, and Tony was ready. For years, he was supposed to face Khabib Nurmagomedov, but fate had other plans. Multiple injuries, cancellations, and insane bad luck kept that super fight from ever happening. UFC fans were heartbroken. It was a dream matchup everyone wanted, but it never materialized. Meanwhile, Khabib dominated the division, and Tony was left with the eternal question, what if? Then everything changed. In 2017, Ferguson finally won the interim belt by defeating Kevin Lee at UFC 216. It was supposed to be a warm-up for the long-awaited clash with Khabib, but just a few months later, disaster struck. Ferguson suffered a bizarre knee injury during media obligations for UFC 223 and had to withdraw. The UFC stripped him of the interim title, a cruel decision, considering everything he had achieved. Even so, Tony shocked everyone. While most fighters would take a year to recover, he returned in just 6 months, and he came back strong. In October 2018, he faced Anthony Pettis at UFC 229 in a chaotic fight. Blood, elbows, and violence on both sides. Pettis even knocked Ferguson down, but El Cucuy never stopped. At the end of the second round, Pettis broke his hand and couldn't continue. Ferguson won by TKO in one of the most brutal performances of his career. But then came 2020, the real turning point. With Khabib out due to travel restrictions, Ferguson faced Justin Gaethje for the interim belt at UFC 249. The fight had promise, but it turned into a nightmare. Gaethje delivered a near-perfect performance and stopped Ferguson in the 5th round. It was a crushing loss. Coming back from a beating like that is never easy, and for Ferguson, things only got worse. In 2021, he faced Charles Oliveira. Fans hoped for a comeback, but he was completely dominated and lost by unanimous decision. After that came more defeats. Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, who knocked him out with a vicious front kick, Nate Diaz, and Bobby Green. It was clear something had changed. The guy with the endless gas tank and insane durability wasn't the same anymore. His unique style no longer worked as well against the new generation. His legendary chin started to show cracks. Now at 41, Tony Ferguson faces the biggest dilemma of his career: retire or try one last reinvention. Some fans still believe in the spirit of El Cucuy and think that with the right opponent and a new approach, he can come back. But does he still have enough fuel in the tank for one last run at the belt? Despite everything, Tony Ferguson is still a living UFC legend. Even if his days as a contender are over, the future might still hold new paths. With his insane experience and unique fight vision, he could shine outside the octagon. As a coach, Tony has everything it takes to train future beasts. He's already shown he understands tactics, creativity, and has a unique perspective on the game, everything a great mentor needs. And his eccentric charisma still draws attention. Tony would be perfect as a commentator, analyst, or even a media personality in the MMA world. No one talks like El Cucuy, and that might be his greatest weapon moving forward. He might never raise a belt again, but his legacy is already secure. The wars, the wild moments, the crazy training, the impossible victories. All of it made Tony Ferguson an eternal name in the UFC, whether he reinvents himself or not. The fight world will never forget El Cucuy. The video's coming to an end. If you like this kind of content, let me know what you think about Tony's future in the comments. Don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more quick and real UFC content. Quick, direct, always real. See you in the next round.